Hey there, Alistair here. Now I have finally remembered to film a couple of knives before I send them out. I've got this really bad habit of building the knife, doing the leather work, making sure everything's cleaned up and stropped and everything like that. Wrap them all up, take them to the post office, post them out, and then when I'm driving home I just think, bugger, didn't film it. Didn't film the knives that I've just sent out. And I made about 6 or 7 the other day and didn't film any of them. I even forgot to take photos of them as well for Instagram and website or whatever. So I've got 2 knives, I've actually got 3 knives that I actually remembered to keep behind before I send them out and put them on YouTube. So first up we have got a Bushwood original. Now this is vegetarian leather dyed in like a whiskey, I think it's whiskey shade. I've been actually spraying, where are we? Using these to spray the leather. I find you get a really nice even layer. You can put like 1 coat or 1 or 2 coats on there and you get that lighter colour, as opposed to if you put it on with the little lamb's wool thing on a stick, these, whatever they call them, these things. If you use them, it tends to saturate the leather a little bit too much, and then you end up getting darker than what you actually want. Where that's, you know, the customer asks for a light leather sheath with light stitching. So there we go. It came out nice. Just like this, your standard belt sheath with the loop on the back. And this wood is Mary wood, which is an Australian hardwood. I do tend to use Australian woods as much as possible. Sometimes people ask for specific woods and then I order them in, or if I've got them in stock, like the curly birch is quite a popular one, but it's nice, but I like to stick to Aussie woods. You know, 2 reasons really. Obviously I'm based in Australia, so it's quite nice to actually send knives out with an Australian wood on there. And the second is small businesses. There's quite a few small businesses over here that sell, you know, wood, cut blocks, or even in big chunks, which I'll get to in a minute. I like to use like native woods as much as possible, because I just think it's, you know, just nicer that a knife comes from Australia and it's got some Australian wood on there. But this one needs a final polish up, but it's so Bushwood original, and this wood is it's called Mary, and it's actually got some real nice lines to it there, and it's a very hard wood as well. So I think it's in the eucalyptus family of woods. I'm not obviously well up on trees and that kind of stuff, which I probably should learn more about that, but it's a eucalyptus, so it's a hard wood, and overall it's really nice. And I have actually managed to get, let me just pick this up, it's a big, this here, go back a bit, that's a big chunk of Mary, so I'll get a serious amount of handle blocks out of that. It doesn't look too nice at the moment there, but you can see on the side, you can see the grains a little bit on there. It doesn't really show up too much, it's just rough sawn, but nice big chunk of Mary, so that will last me a long time. Get some stabilising done on that and make some nice knives with that one. So anyway, that's that one. It's AEBL stainless steel. I took the flats up to 1000 grip on there, if you can see. Nice and shiny, and some jimping on the spine there, just for a little bit of extra grip on your thumb there. I actually quite like that. I might start doing that on all my knives now. It's quite understated, to be honest. It doesn't really, you know, it's not like mega big teeth on the back on the spine there. But you can also use it for scraping as well if you need to, if you're scraping bark and that kind of stuff, or even like for ferro rod, probably work quite well. Yeah. So again, we'll do the sorry, not the thing. We'll do the obligatory cut test. So there we go, nice and sharp, little bits coming off. So there we go, nice and razor sharp. that's the first one that I remembered to video. So that one will get packaged up and sent away. So next up we have got this little fella here. Now this is a bobtail. Now the obviously veg-tan leather again, the same as the other one. But this, I actually made a bit of a screw up with this leather dye, because I originally had dyed it the same colour as this one, and it didn't really, as you can see, it doesn't really go with that colour handle material. So I sort of had a thought, well, I'll spray another colour over the top of it. So I coated it in a layer of dark brown, and that is the result. And I'm obviously it needs polishing because it's just had the wet mould in and it's been drying in the cabinet, so it needs a buff. But overall you can see the colour, and it's actually got a real nice colour to it. It's almost like a bit two-tone looking. So I shall remember that for the next one that I make, and obviously from a mistake something good has come. And you tend to find that sometimes you make a mistake or whatever, and then it actually comes out really good, and then you remember that for the next time. But well, if you can hear the weather out there, it's getting really bad. Apparently we've got a real bad storm coming through tonight, and yeah, you can hear it hammering down. But anyway, back to the knife. So yeah, bobtail, and again this one AEBL stainless, 600 grit finish on the flats there, and Scandi grind, 13 degrees per side, so 26 degrees total. And we've got some stabilised York gum burl on there. You can see that it's got quite a nice nice pattern to it there. And I've used black micarta pins and a stainless lanyard tube. And I've actually made the handle on this one a little bit fatter than I normally do, because I think the guy, I think his name is Nick, the guy that's ordered this. Yes, it is. Now he asked for one that was a little bit fatter in the handle, so as you can see it's kind of a bit more round looking, you can see that way. But, yeah, so it came out nice, and also it's got black micarta liners as well. You probably can't really see that very well, but the micarta has like little layers of, I don't know what it is, whether it's linen or some kind of material, some kind of cotton material or whatever, impregnated into the black, so you get like a quite nice little finish there. But I don't really think you can see it too good. Not really, possibly. But, again, mirror finish on the spine, as I do with all my knives, all the way around. It's even all the way around, equal plunge lines. And, overall, a cool little knife. I do these in a flat grind as well, or a sabre, depending on obviously what the requirements are. But I really like these, and they're quite small as well. Overall length is, what is it? It's about just under 175 millimeters, or in the old-fashioned 7-inch, about 7-inch long, with a blade length of about 65 mil blade length, or sort of 2.5 inch blade length. So a good all-round knife, and small enough that you can either keep in your pocket or you know, on the belt sheath, and it doesn't really hang down too far because it's only short. So cool little knife. That is the bobtail. Last up, I've got another bushwood. This one here, it's the guy asked for a 115 millimeter long blade. Oh no, it wasn't, 120 mil blade. That's what he wanted, 120 mil blade, which is around just under 5 inch, 4 3/4 inches approximately. So he wanted the longer blade and a slightly more chunky handle. Now this is in stabilised poplar, so he wanted a bit more of a thicker handle, chunky handle. Because sometimes what I say to people is, if they're ordering a specific knife, is put your hand like that, and then measure that part of your hand. So obviously, like, you know, between, you know, where your 4 fingers are there, measure that, and then I compare that to my hand, because my hand there, if I put that on there, it's about 3 3/4 inches, or around about 90 millimeters. So my hand's pretty average size. So by asking the client hand size, I can sort of tailor the knife to them without them actually holding the knife, if that makes sense. Especially if you're posting it across the other side of the world or whatever. That way you got a bit of an idea of, you know, how it's going to fit. Nothing worse than getting a knife and the handle's too small, or it's too big, you can't get your fingers around it. So on custom knives, yeah, I do tend to just kind of ask, you know, if they're asking quite a lot of questions, as in what goes into it, what size is this, what size is that, then obviously I'll ask them to say, yeah, give me a hand measurement, and then we can go from there. But yeah, so that one there is 01 tool steel, 3.2 millimeters thick, and again 13 degree Scandi grind, 26 total. So it's got some mosaic pins in there. It needs a final buff up, but and he didn't want the handle too glossy, he wanted it a little bit more kind of matte looking, so that's what we've gone with there. Again, the spine's polished all the way around, nice and even all the way around, and even plunge lines, and overall really nice knife. Mosaic pins, did I just say mosaic pins, or can't remember, but, yeah. So there you go, they're the 3 knives that I actually remembered to video. The other thing I've got, when I got that other big chunk of the Maori wood there, I also got this even bigger chunk of, go back a bit, this is nice and thick. This is she oak, and again, she oak is an Australian hardwood, and it's got a you can't really see it on there, but I've got another piece that I've cut off this, and I shall show you what it actually looks like. But again, Australian hardwood, and I think it's a very underestimated wood. It's one of my favourite woods, and doesn't need stabilising. That's the good thing about it. It's like mega hard and dense, and I've made knives that I kind of made for myself and pre-stabilising days, and the handle scales are perfect. There's no lifting, there's no kind of shrinkage around the pins or anything like that, and yeah, so it is a real hard wood. Doesn't need stabilising. I do stabilise it, but I don't think it actually needs it. You know, it's just one of those things. I tend to stabilise everything, even if it doesn't need it, but just as a kind of peace of mind, really. But I'll show you what it looks like. I've got a small piece here. I'll just soak it up with some stuff. There you go. You can see what it looks like there. It's an very unusual looking wood. The grain on it is, it almost looks like splits in the wood, like it's opened up, but they're not splits. That's just the grain. And on a knife, it looks really nice, and it's probably one of my favourites to use. Again, because it's so hard and dense, and it just makes a really good handle. Plus the look of it, it's just, I think it's got a really cool look. And I'll be using obviously that big chunk to make lots of knives with that. So if anyone's interested in a West Australian she oak handled knife, drop me a line. Get onto my website campaniaknives.com.au and send a message, and we can get some she oak knives sent out around the world. No, actually, I've got one more thing. Now, I don't know, like, whether you're the same as me or whatever, but COVID tests. Back in the day when it was all going off with COVID, wherever you went, I think originally you had to buy the test, but then they started giving them away because they had so many. Literally everywhere you went, there was people. Yeah, here's some COVID tests. You know, have these. Shopping centres, even going to the football, whatever. There'd be people giving away. So we used to grab like, I don't know, 10, 20 at a time. Now, obviously, they've all gone out of date now, and I started throwing them out the other day, and I actually stopped and thought, hang on a second, there's a use for these things. Now, these are the things that you'd stick up your nose there and do the whatever, you scrape out whatever you got to scrape and then put it into the thing. So I actually sort of thought to myself, there's got to be a use for them, and then it dawned on me that when you're gluing up your handles, there's handle scales there. When you're gluing up your handles, I tend to use, what do I use these bamboo, little bamboo skewers. You can buy like a whole load of them, really cheap. And that's what I normally use, dip it in the epoxy and then go round in the holes just to make sure the holes are coated in epoxy. So obviously that's an eco-friendly version. You can throw these in the bin and they'll decompose. But I know the COVID things are plastic, but they're going to go in the bin anyway. So I sort of thought to myself, well, I might as well actually get a use out of them. And they make really good epoxy applicators. So you can dip it in your epoxy and then you can coat up in your holes there. And even like smaller holes, because they've got the little foam tip on there as well, it just soaks up the epoxy nice and gives you a nice little coat in there. So there's a use for the useless COVID tests we were all given. So something good comes from something ridiculous, but there's a use for them, and I've got quite a few. You can see how many test kits we had. There's that bundle, and I've got another couple of bundles like this, so they're going to keep me going for a while. But I like to reuse things if I can, and I know they're going to get, like I said earlier, they're going to get thrown out anyway, but at least they've had a purpose and they've been used for something. So it's not, I don't feel as bad as if you just throw them straight in the bin. But that's about it. Just a quick video. Well, probably isn't that quick after I've waffled on for so long, but that's just a quickie. And I'm still editing the third part of the bushwood knife build. It's just it's driving me nuts. I managed to film 153 minutes of footage, and I've got to try and get that down to around about 30 minutes. So it's giving me a bit of a headache trying to edit that. I might end up doing another two, like split it up into a part 3, part 4, because I don't want to cut out too much of the knife build, and I don't want to kind of like skip and jump bits, because if you're interested in what goes into making a knife, I think it's quite nice that you actually see all the steps rather than you know, bits that aren't like a miss, you know, from pre bevel grinding, all those stages up to putting the handle scales on, all that sort of stuff. I'd like to get every little bit on there so you can kind of see the overall sort of journey of how a knife is built. So I shall edit that and get that underway as soon as I can. But apart from that, I think that's around about it for this video. So yes, like and subscribe, and I shall see you on the next video. Hopefully it will be the part 3 of the knife build video. So anyway, I'm going to go back in the house now because it's getting a bit gusty out here, and I'm going to have some food, going to have some dinner. So anyway, thank you for watching. Stay safe. I shall see you on the next video. Cheers. See ya.